Well, who's on first?
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk. Who? The guy on first.
Who?
The guy playing first base.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who is on first?
What are you asking me for? I'm asking you.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Who's on First. Thank you guys so much for listening. I am Tim Ellebrook. That is Brian Kaplinger. That is Michael Ramsey. Oh, Michael's blurry again already. Look at that. No, he's back. He's back. Welcome. We appreciate you guys for listening. We got so much to talk about. Before we jump in, give us a like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Boys, a lot of crazy stuff's happened this week. We got so much fun stuff to go over. So much crazy stuff. But first, how was your guys' weekend? How are you doing?
Doing well. The Cubs finally started winning some games. Got outside. Got to do a little gardening. So life's good, boys.
There we go.
Gardening. I don't know about that. I mean, you know, to each his own, I guess I would say. No, it is still a good weekend. It's been nice to be outside. I will say the flip side for me is lawn care. I finally got rid of all the piles of branches and leaves out of the back of my yard just in time for another good round of storms to come through maybe, and we'll see if there's more to come. But right now, it looks good, so I'm happy.
There will be more to come, I guarantee you. It's never going to stop. Right on. Well, boys, we got so much to talk about. Let's jump in first. You guys okay if we go with the Las Vegas Athletics?
Let's do it.
So, I don't know if you guys watched every game. I didn't watch every one, but we've got some crazy stuff going on. Big general overview. I want to get your guys' thoughts of what do you think about the bandbox that is, Las Vegas. But a couple things I want to put out. So, we're filming Sunday today. They just finished. The Rockies beat the Athletics 23-9, which is unreal.
The Rockies scored 23 runs in a game. That's even more unreal.
Hunter Goodman's, I just saw this today. Hunter Goodman's leading, I think he's leading the league this year in multiple base hit games. I think it's 20 or something like that.
Very nice.
Don't quote me on that, but it's close. Anyway, this series encapsulated, so the Athletics played two different series. They had Milwaukee and they had Colorado. There was 45 home runs total hit.
In six
games. Combination.
That's in six games. Six games.
In 6 games. A combination of a total of 102 runs scored between both teams. 6 games, 102 runs, 45 home runs. That, for perspective, the best team in baseball, which we just talked about, is the Dodgers and the Nationals. They have 382 runs total this season at a runs per game score of average about 5.4. This series, if you average it out, they is scoring 17 runs per game. 17 runs per game. So, my question to you guys, is this fun baseball? Should we excited to expect this, in a couple of years?
When are we moving to Vegas? Let's go.
I know, right? Let's go.
Bet the over, baby. Bet the over.
Yeah, every time.
Oh, man. I mean, it's fun in some aspects. I mean, maybe for the general fan, it's a blast. Obviously, there is no want for offense in Vegas, at least not in an open stadium. Now, granted, little caveat, which we can talk about a little bit too, the initial designs for the new stadium that's being built will be much like Milwaukee in the sense of being enclosed. They will be able to control the temperature a lot more. And it'll be interesting to see if that does, in fact, change maybe some of the launch that we're seeing. Because, again, 45 home runs in 6 games is absolutely absurd. There are players that wish they could hit 45 home runs in 2 seasons in their career, much less in a 6-game span. Some of these teams won't even get much higher than 46 home runs as a team. And so that alone, it's fun to watch. And I think in a small sample size, it's really good for baseball because they're screaming for more offense and things like that. But the problem is you're not going to get teams to agree to go play there in these one-offs like this. There has to be some sort of competitive balance that comes into play, because just think about like the poor starters in this one. I mean, I don't know what their ERAs were going in, but it could severely impact some of these races. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, I don't think he did, but could you imagine if the Miz? I mean, he would have probably struck everybody out, but you know, we'll get into that later. But if he had to pitch there, like what that could potentially do with the season that he's having thus far. Like he is legitimately locked in a tight battle with someone like Sanchez for the Phillies in potentially the Cy Young award race. And if he were to go there and play and have one bad game, how that could really deter that ERA. Now, I would assume some of the voters would potentially throw that game out the window when they're looking at numbers just given the situation. But still, can you like just think about something like that really kind of unfolding? Now, granted, small sample size, this is 6 games. But in those 6 games, could you imagine if like they had worked out a deal where they played in Vegas all season? Like you would have the greatest offensive team ever in baseball just because of the
still
heart.
have a losing record.
100%. Because what did we say? They are in the series against the Rockies. They win the series, but because of today's game, they will still walk out of that series with a -10 run differential.
That's
Rockies
absurd.
decided to wake up today.
Right. I mean, it's just it just doesn't make sense. I mean, it's good for the casual fan, but I think more fan bases or more fans that are more into baseball would probably say like, "Hey, we enjoy it in a small spurt, maybe a series," because like again, it goes to like when they go overseas and they're in Japan or they're in England, those places. Yeah. You tend to see this. And, like, I think you could live with it in a small sample size, but I think 6 games is probably the max you want to see.
Yeah. I do find it interesting that they didn't choose this ballpark as their temporary one for the couple of years instead of the one in Sacramento. But anyway, Michael, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good, brother. I was going to say, I think it will be interesting to see here in a couple of years whenever the new stadium is built and everything, what those totals for a whole year or something looks like, because you could start seeing an influx of people, because Vegas is obviously kind of an interesting place for some people anyways, but I mean, if you start seeing guys home run totals that are kind of mid hitters all of a sudden starting to pump up 30 plus home run seasons, right. You may get some of these guys that are sitting here going, I'm a good hitter, but this could get me paid like crazy. Or, you see these guys that are, his home runs are the one thing that's kind of holding him back from being in that Hall of Fame discussion. And all of a sudden, or you take a guy like Schwarber, someone that's going to be probably battling right around that 500 area, all of a sudden blows right past it because he goes to a place like Vegas where he just absolutely inflates a season or something. It would be kind of interesting to monitor that, like you said, because, I mean, you don't see it often, but you do see it occasionally, especially when Colorado was better, where guys were interested in potentially going out there to play, and obviously not pitchers. Pitchers are never interested in those places, but, hitters, it would be definitely interesting to watch. And I did a little quick math, so it could be off, but that was 7% of the runs that the Rockies have scored all season they scored today. So that's pretty absurd.
Good for them. I was I don't remember if I was watching another podcast or I had this thought I was talking to somebody, but if they're going to do series like that again, they need to give 27-man rosters for both those teams. Everybody, man, they're going to need some extra pitchers to go through.
Can you imagine if they had to throw some position guys out there?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think they did when it got to later into today's game.
Today's, sure.
But, I mean, both teams had kind of given up. But what was fascinating is I almost thought the Rockies might try and just put a position guy in just to eat up a couple innings to save some arms for the next series that they're in, but they didn't do that. They, they're
not
just
used to winning
powering
games.
through, right?
Yeah,
They're just
right.
powering through.
The crazy thing to think about, take the 23 out. 9 runs is still a lot in a baseball game. Like 9 is a ton, considering the fact that the Dodgers are scoring 5.4 per game, and they are the best run scoring producer. 9.
Can you
23 is insane.
Can you imagine scoring 9 runs and getting beat that bad?
Right.
Right?
But you always see this, right? There's always a few games every year where a team goes crazy in that regard. You don't necessarily see this in a series. I mean, again, we talked about the very first game against the Brewers, 29 runs between the two teams. And then this one, they ended it with even a bigger bang. It wasn't as close of a game, but you got 32 runs scored in the final game.
Well, so I'm looking through it. Well, there's only 2 games that had double-digit runs, and I guess I should say double-digit per side. Each game eclipsed double digits between both of them combined. But first game was 14-15. This one's 23-9. But the others were 7-5, 4-3, 6-4, 7-5, which that's a high-scoring game, but like not the other one.
Well, and
the home run total to me is just crazy.
Right.
45.
The crazy thing in the 6-game series, the Athletics come out winning the series. They're 4-2. They lost the opening game and they lost the game today, but they won the other game. So, like, if I'm the Athletics, I'm going, I don't care if we play here because we're figuring out how to win series. Like, sure, we have the one-off game where we give up 9,000 runs, but, like, who cares? We're winning the series.
So what I think's going to happen is MLB's going to be like, okay, all-star game, Vegas.
Absolutely.
Home run derby, Vegas.
Minor league
every
stadium
time.
at Vegas.
Oh,
Right,
no,
yeah.
when they get the new stadium, open the windows, baby. Whatever you got to do.
Right, yeah.
Somebody
Although I don't
is
think that's
going
going to be
out.
retractable, is it? Yeah. Can you imagine, like, to what you're saying, Michael, like Kyle Schwarber going to a series in Las Vegas over there? Instead of Milwaukee, it was the Phillies, and Schwarber's just like, he just pinches a home ball, and it's just like, oh, it's 600 feet.
That's what I was going to say. Him and Harper go back-to-back with a measurable, over 1,000 feet between the two of them.
Gives me like 98 home run derby vibes with McGuire and Sosa.
I was going to say,
100%.
I want to see what Jordan Walker's home run was from the other day. 117 off the bat that ended up going 454 in Minnesota. Like, that would have left Vegas entirely.
Yeah. What's interesting though, there's an account on Twitter I follow. I think it's like projected. It's like projected wins or projected numbers, and they take every day they take the game slate and predict weather and like what weather is looking like for each ballpark. And that particular game, I only looked at it for the first one. So the Milwaukee 14-15 one. He posted afterwards. According to his charts, only like 3 or 4 of the home runs were ballpark factor. Like Jonah Heim's home run, that was like 360 or something crazy, which was a home run only there, was definitely a ballpark. But still, something else, like, it's kind of the same thing as Colorado. Like, the weather is making the ball move a little bit differently.
100%, because you've got, like, when you go back and look at some of the home runs, if you want to really nerd out about it, a lot of them were not hard hit ball. Like, I mean, they're hard hit, don't get me wrong, anything up in the air. But you're talking, like, I think Soderstrom hit a home run. He hit it off the bat. It was like 92 off the bat, which that's going to be a routine fly ball in almost every ballpark outside of crazy conditions, and yet the ball went out of the ballpark and traveled the distance, and the distance seemingly showed that it would go out in all ballparks. But it's like you hit a ball that hard, like in Seattle, you're just flying out to right field, my friend. Go ahead and just like start jogging back in.
So many too were center oriented, not just like crazy poolside either. And that was that's a deep like 410 or something center outfield. So nonetheless, it's crazy, and I do agree that is a fun short amount of time to watch. But man, if I can imagine if the game headed that direction, it would not be enjoyable to watch, even for offensive players. Like, No one runs a home run derby every night.
You get exhausted.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Teams are going to have to expand because both hitters and pitchers are just like, we can only go for so long.
I can't hit 7 times a game, man.
I was getting ready to say the same thing, Michael. I was like, at the end of the day, they're going, I'm going to need a day off the next day because I'm going to have to swing 7, 8 times in the night.
Guys, I'm going to need to go for a smoke. All right.
You might be talking about some of those Mets teams coming back. They're going to have some of that special powder just to make it through some of the extra games.
I'm trying to think who in our MLB right now would probably hit the most majestic home run there. It's either Schwarber or Judge. It's got to be one of those two.
I don't know. O'Neal Cruz may absolutely lay into one if he just launch angle, 120 miles an hour. Like he might hit the Eiffel Tower there in the
or Gio.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got some of these guys that just have immense bat speed that would obliterate records.
That's it. I want the home run derby in Vegas every time, and no time limit. Screw that crap.
Yep.
Just swing away, baby. Swing away.
That's right. All right. Next, we're going to talk about something that's been on my mind a little bit. Is the old faithful White Sox. They're doing some special things, boys. My main question for you guys before we dig into it is: are the White Sox going to make the playoffs? Are you buying or are you selling on that one?
See, this is a tough one because I think the White Sox may make the playoffs not because of how well they've played, but because of how bad the rest of the division is.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're looking at, before the season started, we were all sitting here talking. Kansas City we thought was going to be absolutely electric. They have not been. We thought Detroit still had a chance to do what they've done the last couple years, or at least be borderline playoff hopeful. They don't look like that at all. Cleveland just got dealt huge blow with losing J-Ram for a significant amount of time. For a team that already doesn't have a crazy amount of offense, you just lost your best offensive weapon. Not ideal. Who's also an above-average defender. And so, I mean, what's it really leave you with? The Twins don't have any hope of winning that division.
Except when they play the Cardinals.
Well,
yeah, right.
Correct. But the overall, so it's like, and also the weird part is, I mean, there's still a chance Cleveland still figures out a way. There's a chance Kansas City figures out a way and that offense starts clicking. I will say Jack Caglione's starting to hit the ball well. So, maybe a couple things start falling their way. Who knows? But the big part for me is I think there's a piece of it that the White Sox hitters are overachieving a bit. We're looking right now, they've got 3 guys that are leading the league at their position in home runs. Obviously, Murakami is, kind of a, who knew what you were going to get, whether he was actually going to be able to be legit or not. So maybe he is that guy. And Montgomery showed out last year and in the second half of the season a lot. But the fact that they've got 3 guys bordering 20 home runs right now at this point in the season's a little surprising, I would say. Their pitching's been well above what I think most of us expected. But, like I said, could I see a world in which it happens? Yes, but I think that'll be more in part from the fact that that division is probably the worst in all of baseball, from top to bottom. The AL West obviously has something to say, but overall that division is not good, and it's going to get worse because Detroit's going to be selling at the deadline, giving up probably their best arm and maybe a couple position guys. So, and like I said, Cleveland, they could take a nosedive with J-Ram out for a while because this isn't one of those injuries. For those listening, he broke his hamate bone. Like that's an injury. He's going to be out for a little bit. So, They could take a huge dip, and the White Sox could really build a lead going into the All-Star break and everything with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to buy in on them. A lot of what you said, Michael, I don't know that there's anybody else positioned to really take the Central, and so as default, I think they're going to win. I think this next series for them coming up against the Yankees which they start, I believe, is it tomorrow or Tuesday? I can't remember. But anyway, that's their next series. I think will be a big series for them to kind of give you maybe an estimated where they're at. I'm not necessarily thinking they got to sweep the Yankees or anything like that, but I want to see how they play against the Yankees because the Yankees have pitching this year. We know their offense plays. And so for the White Sox, to me, this is going to be that early season, mid-season, if you will, litmus test to really say, hey, can I win this division? Now, again, Cleveland always seems to do Cleveland things, and so with J-Ram gone, I think it's a bit harder for them. But who's to say they don't call somebody up who just happens to catch fire for the few months that he's gone, and they stay in the mix? Because right now they're even. The White Sox just have the lead just purely based on record at this point. And so like that's going to be the thing for me. Now, will they make the playoffs? I think they will, just because the nature of the rest of the AL is not strong enough. I mean, you've got some teams creeping back in. Like, you don't want to look now, but Toronto's not that far out of that final wild card spot. As crazy as this is going to sound, the Houston Astros are only a few games back of that final wild card spot, which automatically puts Texas into play as well. And so I think the wild card in the American League is going to get very, very interesting come trade deadline and beyond, because it's going to be fun to see what some of these teams do. There are some teams like Houston that's just not in a position where they can sell. They should, but they're not going to because of the amount of money that is in players. So chances are they may actually take from some of these other teams to try and bolster themselves to make a run. Because, again, to your point, Tim, the West is pretty rough as well. They're not doing a whole lot out there either. And so it'll be interesting if Houston feels like, hey, if we can go on one of these, 2-3 week runs, we could be leading the division. Because, again, they're only, I'm looking at it now, they're only 4 games back of their division, which is insane to think. Texas seems to be getting right and getting healthy a little bit, so that's going to be, I think, a danger. So for me, if I'm the White Sox, I push it all in, not in the sense of necessarily going out and buying a tremendous amount at the trade deadline, but push it in with the guys that I have. Just, hey, this is the team we're running with. I may go get some supplemental pieces that aren't going to cost me anything, but we're going to push to win this division. And I think, given the immediate outlook of the Central, they're the best team in the AL Central. I mean, that they just are. The young rookie are showing out. You said it, their pitching has been, close to one of the best pitching staffs, at least in the American League. And so if they can continue to do it, and I know that's a big if. Anytime you talk about a Chicago team, it's an if. But they could. I mean, to me, this is their best chance.
Yeah, so a couple things is crazy. I think as a general thing, I want them to make the playoffs because it would be a fun story. It's very much, to me, a somewhat of a mirror of the Cardinals season. This team's that's not supposed to be nowhere near ready, very much outperforming everything. These players on the team are way outperforming individually. Colson Montgomery is the best hitting shortstop in the AL. Murakami was this thought of like, hey, man, there's this power, but he's going to swing it and miss at everything. And he does, but he also hits a lot of bombs. And then Miguel Vargas is the best third baseman in the AL, which the Cardinals need a third baseman, so that'd be cool too. A couple things that stick out to me. So I was digging into the numbers a little bit. They're 11th in WRC plus. So like overall, the team, they're in the middle, which I mean, 11's not bad. 20 and 20 to 30 is, I would say, considered bad. They're 20th in ERA, so it's like overall their pitching's not great. I would imagine some of the bullpen pieces are what is inflating that quite a bit. But the thing that's crazy to me is they're 6th in home runs in the entire league. They have 93. Man, they're hitting a lot of home runs. And I think, to be honest with you, I'm buying. I agree with you guys that, well, maybe not. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what kind of pressure Chris Getz is going to have or feel when it comes to the deadline, because they weren't supposed to be good yet. They weren't supposed to be this good yet. And the idea of Murakami was like, okay, we're going to bring this guy. He's going to be good. We're going to be able to send him out so we can get some more talent in the pipeline. Well, shoot, the whole team's good right now. And so it's like, I envy that decision. I think he's going to feel pressure, because also you have to think the White Sox haven't had fans in the ballpark for like 6 years, 5 years probably. And they're starting to show up like crazy. Like the guys on Baseball Today talked about when the Twins were there, they haven't seen that many fans in the ballpark for years. So it's like, you got to be really careful, because you could send a message. Sure, it's kind of, again, I put it to in the same situation the Cardinals is in somewhat, like, fans are coming back. You're getting more buy-in in the team. The team's way better than you thought. Sure, your original trajectory is like, we need some more talent still, but at the same time, these guys are really good. Do we reward them for it? Do we stand pat? Which neither is bad, obviously. But I do hope they make the playoffs, because it would be more fun. I want to see the best thing for the game is to have more parity in. The Guardians have been in the playoffs for like 6 years in a row in the probably even for longer than that. And there are teams in baseball that are not good that are supposed to be, and then there are that they're not good. They're not supposed to be good, and they're really good. So I'm buying on it. I'm buying on it.
Yeah, the only thing that gives me pause and hesitation really is they're great at home, and they're just not that good on the road.
Sure,
and that's a recipe for disaster.
Young team.
I agreed, and that's why I say, they're legitimately a good week away, and then they're running away with the division, but they're also a bad week away, and they find themselves back in a dead heat with Minnesota. Yeah, and it's like, to me, Minnesota's a team. They're going to do exactly what they did last year. They are going to sell every single starter they have to acquire AAA depth is basically what they're going to acquire. And the White Sox have an opportunity again. I think Tim, you're right in this. It's absolutely like the Cardinals in the sense they don't have to abort the plan and the trajectory that they're on to still make the playoffs this year. They just need some supplemental pieces. Don't go in and get this veteran that's going to come in and necessarily rob some of your younger guys playing time, because that's going to hurt you overall. Let these guys play it out and go get some bullpen help. Maybe go get one more starter to add a little bit more depth. And it doesn't even have to be like that household name starter. Go find somebody that needs a change of scenery that's going to cost you a bag of beans in comparison, and then go from there. That way you're adding depth, but you're not necessarily robbing those younger players of the opportunity to continue to develop. Because if they do make it to the playoffs, how great is that experience for these younger players? Because that's going to set the stage for years to come. Even if they do nothing in the playoffs, even if they legitimately just get swept the first round, the fact of being there is going to be worth it.
Most of the time, ask Mike Trout about that.
Right.
Not been the experience for him.
That's good.
I will say, the guy kind of popped in my head when you were talking, Brian, is, what if they go get a guy like Michael Wacha?
Right.
Like a very solid starter that isn't going to be Joe Ryan, Tarek Skubal, Sandy Alcantara expensive.
Right.
But, a guy that you could bring in and he'll be your 2 or 3 on your staff very easily, and somebody you could definitely trust in the playoffs. So,
but I want that guy,
dude. Everybody's gonna. Everybody that doesn't want to or knows that they're not getting Tarek Skubal or Joe Ryan is going to be going, Michael Wacha could be a nice piece. Like, and it's not gonna. Honestly, it's not gonna cost us our entire farm system to get him either.
Yep. Absolutely. One more thing about this I thought it's pretty cool. So Brian Montgomery debuts. I think he debuted on Friday.
Braden, right?
Is it
Yes.
Braden?
Braden Montgomery.
Okay, Braden Montgomery. My bad.
No, you're good.
Apologies.
We got to get it
Apologies,
right.
Braden,
It's
if you're
his
watching.
his debut. That's right. We want him to be a friend of the show.
Got some knocks on his hit, but he had the walk-off home run. First day debut. The best thing about it was the post-game interview, the smile that he had on his face. It kind of just it like made you think like, oh, this kid, he's just thinking about playing in the backyard with his dad, and now he just got to do that. But one thing with it, Brian Montgomery is the last piece with his debut is the last piece from the Crochet trade. So the Crochet trade is completed now. Everybody, all 4 guys from that have debuted for the White Sox. So that's they've all officially made it with Teal, Montgomery, and there's 2 other small pieces. I think they were pitchers. So that one's completed, which is interesting food for thought. Like between the 2 teams, who wins a trade, who loses a trade. Crochet's hurt. I'd probably still take him. Not probably. I would for sure still take him.
I know you would. You would take it. And I'm not saying anybody would be wrong for that. That's another component for the White Sox. Teal's been out all this time.
Yep.
And he's coming back. Now, obviously, it's going to take him some time to settle back in. But, that's a piece that you're adding, essentially, and you don't even have to give anything up. Right. Yeah,
it's
right.
Like making a
it's
trade.
Like making a trade.
All right. Last big thing, and we got some other small stuff, but guys, we got to talk about the Miz.
I don't want to.
If that kid was any good at baseball, man, the Brewers would be really good.
Yeah. Friday, June 12th, gets his first complete game shutout. 9 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 15 Ks. Made Schwarber look really silly and really mad. 26 whiffs total. Under 100 pitches. Guys, is he the real deal?
It has to be, right? I mean, yeah. How can you say anything otherwise at this point? I'm telling you, whether he realizes it or not, he listened to the show because he waited until we were talking about the fact that he was going to be this 5 and dive style pitcher, and it's not going to pan out. And then ever since then, it's like basically 7 innings, and then he's like, you know what? To just top it off, I'm going to throw a complete game, shutout, only give up 1 hit, strike out 15. And just basically say, hey, you guys over at Who's on First, what do you think about me now?
Well, and you didn't even hit on everything that you just said. All those stats were crazy, but he also just threw the fastest pitch any starting pitcher has ever thrown in a game at 104.5, like ridiculous. That's just silly. Now that also is the thing that I worry about. Is this sustainable? What he's doing right now is unreal, but can his arm hold up to that? Because that's anytime you get anybody throwing like that, it's concerning. And the only guy I can really think of that has sustained for a significant amount of time throwing like that, and he's a reliever, not a starter, is Aroldis Chapman. All these other guys that come in throwing, some major heat. And nobody's touching the heat that obviously the Miz has right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Are almost always bullpen guys, but the starters that throw 99 consistently, very few of them can last more than 4 or 5 years throwing at that pace without seeing a Tommy John injury or something along those lines. Which, knock on wood, don't hope for that kid. I hope he gets traded elsewhere so I don't have to face him, several times a year.
Real.
But go to the AL, that'd be great. But that's the only
the Yankees
thing
will buy him like everybody else.
Most likely, and he'll probably be even nastier up there somehow. But then he'll end up with a Tommy John surgery up there for sure, like Garrett Cole. But that's the only piece that I would say I'm concerned about. But he looks absolutely 100% legit right now. Like you said, Brian, he's not just bringing the heat. The dude's got. He has to throw an accurate ball because no one's swinging at his stuff outside of the zone. He's just blowing people away. Like, I know you can't touch this ball, so I'm just going to throw it in the zone, and you're going to throw up a prayer and hope you hit this thing because it's unreal, man.
I won't say this often, and then I'll let you go, Tim. But I was completely wrong. Tim and I were talking even a couple weeks back, and I was like, it's just not sustainable on the sense that he's throwing his fastball 70% of the time, all of this stuff. I was like, people are going to key into that. And it's like they're going to be sitting on the fastball, therefore, they're going to hit it at some point. And I've been wrong. Like, I mean, you can't touch his fastball and then you mix in, the breaking pitches that he has where he can at least throw that around the plate in some aspect. That there's no prayer right now. I mean, your best opportunity is to go up there, stick the bat out, and go, I hope I get a piece of it.
Yeah, right. So it's absolutely unreal. I'm really happy for him. I'm like you said, I'm pissed that it's in the Central and we face him 3 or 4 times a year. And I pity anybody with him in the playoffs, I think the couple things that are really cool is the fact the thing we were talking about at the beginning of the year was like he's going to need to go, to really be a true ace, to really be that guy, that stopper that everybody talks about. He's going to have to go more innings, and you can't go more than 9. And this is coming off of a length of time where he's going like 7 back to back. I think the injury thing is a thing, but man, he's got weird body. And his extension's also a part of it. He's got one of the best extensions in baseball because he's so tall. And you're right, like he doesn't have to throw outside of the zone because nobody can hit his fastball inside of the zone.
Right.
One of the cool thing I just saw, I wrote this down, that he had Mizrowski's complete game had a game score of 100. There's only 3 pitchers in history who've had a better game score than Mizrowski's 100. Kerry Wood, and who had the 20K game. Clayton Kershaw had 1 game, and Matt Cain had 1 game. Kerry Wood's game score was 104. So Miz hit 100. He was 1 hit from a perfect game and a no-hitter with less than 100 pitches.
Right.
I'd seen something on social media, scrolling through, and people were like, "Is this the best game, like individual game we've ever seen anyone throw?" And that was the only thing people kept throwing up was Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout performance. That's hard. It'll be hard to ever, see anybody get in the ballpark, but this was special. In and of itself. Anytime you're in the discussion with that game, you know that you just had a special game.
Right, yeah. Am I crazy? Is that from the 80s?
That would be the 90s.
The 90s.
Is the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay, let me look at that real quick. It was 1998. The Cubs versus the Houston Astros.
A lot of beautiful stuff in
Wrigley.
98 happened.
I was going to say, that's when baseball came back to life right there.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm excited for him. His Savant page is all red, so it's something you love to see. It's going to be a sad day because Milwaukee's not going to be able to keep him. There's absolutely no way if he stays, as long as he can stay healthy. But they're going to have a long run with him.
And they're going to have a lot of prospects out of him too. That's for sure.
Can you imagine, man? It just makes me so mad because he was 4 picks behind our pick in 2022.
Nobody saw that.
Come on.
Nobody saw
6'7".
Nobody saw it. I mean,
there's 100.
There's a lot of 6'7" guys that can't touch 100. I mean, Adam Wainwright was that guy.
No, I'm saying, like, in the draft, he was 6'7", he was throwing 100 already. He just couldn't find the strike zone.
Right. I mean, we've seen that before, too, and it didn't pan out for St. Louis. I understand, not wanting to go that direction. We got a number of players that hit that mark, and we've shipped them off already.
Yeah.
So, I tell you, the crazy part is, can you imagine if he would have actually gone to LSU and pitched with Skeens? Like, that would have been the nastiest one, too, probably in college history.
It's kind of crazy you bring that up because we've been talking about Skeens like he's going to carry the Cy Young for the next decade, and he's not even the top 3 discussion right now. I mean, he's having a bad start to the season, but...
The irony, the Pirates are playing better than they've played his entire career, and he's having the worst year of his career.
Yeah. Maybe he needs, I was gonna say maybe he needs to get with Miz and take up some Pokemon collecting because maybe that's the that's the secret sauce for all of this.
Livy Dunn's been getting texts from the Miz lately. No, I'm kidding. All right, so do you guys want to hit some random stuff, or do you want to go talk about the Cardinals and the Cubs?
Whatever you want to do, man. You're leading the ship. Let's go.
The only other thing I was going to mention is Philly and the progress that they've been making. They're Brian, I'm sure you got it up. How far back are they in the division?
They're 8 games back in the division. So
do you think what's the record? They're 6-4.
Yeah, they're 38 and 33. So they're 5 games above 500.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, I mean,
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Now, you still find yourself
Just lost 2 outfielders too.
right a good 2-week run of still having to have 2 weeks of great baseball when Atlanta has 2 weeks of really bad baseball to catch them.
Well, and that's Atlanta does have some rough injuries though. They're down Ronald Acuna. They're down Drake Baldwin. They're down Spencer Strider again. So, I mean, if there was a time that they could make some ground up, this would probably be that stretch.
Do you think... So my main question was, do you think the Phillies have a chance to unseed the Braves at all, or is it wild card or bust?
It's hard to believe that they could, but 8 games is better than the 9 games it's been the last, 3 or 4 weeks where they've been. So if they can keep slowly ticking at, this pace that they've played at, 6 to 7 wins out of 10, I could see a world in which Philly, because we know one thing is different about Atlanta than Philadelphia. Philadelphia is going to be going all in at the trade deadline. Atlanta's probably going to be, yes, we're going to probably make some moves, but you're not going to see them make some major splash, I don't imagine. Philadelphia is definitely going to have to be pushing them chips in.
Yeah.
No, you're right on that. Philly's going all in regardless, but I would not be surprised if Atlanta does not make a big move on the pitching side.
I could see that.
Because to me, that's the one thing that's holding them back. Now, yes, some of these injuries, depending on what really comes down with Acuna and some of the others with Baldwin, can really slow down their progress. But I think what they've done is very similar to what the Dodgers have done in years of past, where they build out enough of a cushion they can withstand some of this. It doesn't mean that it's not going to get closer. I think Philly can pull this closer, but I think at the end of the day, it's just too much for them to overcome. The team that if I'm Philly, I'm more worried about at this point is the Washington Nationals, because somehow they're figuring it out and they're only a half game behind the Phillies. And this is realistically, they're only getting 1 wild card out of that. Not both of those teams, unless something crazy happens throughout the rest of the NL. Yeah. There's only going to be potentially 1 wild card spot for those 2 teams. Yeah. And I'm not saying the Nationals are here to stay, but that offense is legit. And if they can somehow figure out a little bit of pitching, they're going to be a very dangerous team if that's the route they want to go to.
Well, that's the big piece is, they're right there with the worst pitching staff in baseball. So, like you said, if they figure out a little bit with pitching, then Washington could start winning some games. And that's it's hard to imagine a world, but it's going to be really interesting to see where Washington's sitting post trade or post All-Star break timeline. About a month out or so from there, because they may have to make a decision on Abrams at the trade deadline, whether they're going to keep rolling with him, because as we were kind of talking before we rolled here, is Washington's offense is really good, but a large portion of that is James Wood and Abrams are absolutely carrying that the hitting for that team by a hefty margin. It's like they've got some other nice pieces that are but these 2 are by far the load carriers for that team, and the margin between the next person is significant. So it's if I'm Washington, obviously, maybe they're sitting here right now going, man, I really wish we wouldn't have traded Mackenzie Gore because we sure could use a guy every 5 days that we can count on to go win a game from a pitching aspect. But, if they're still sitting above 500, obviously, who knows what they do. But I would imagine they're keeping Abrams. Obviously, if they're starting to dip below 500, I would see a world in which they start to move him or will move him. But if they're not, like you said, Brian, Philly's definitely looking better, but they shouldn't be comfortable because Miami's kind of in the same position. Like, Miami's not bad. They've got some good young players that are starting to put it together. Obviously they're probably trading Sandy regardless, but that actually might be the best thing for them. They may have a better, other young pitcher come in. So, it's
of course
gonna
they do.
It's gonna be a really interesting stretch and. It's so funny. We're sitting here and the AL Central, the AL West are awful. And so they're going to be a dogfight till the end because of how bad all the teams are. And then you have pretty much all three divisions in the National League are going to be a dogfight till the end outside of the Dodgers are going to win their division. But, Arizona, San Diego, both could make or have some say for the playoffs for sure. And then basically the entire Central Division could be
with the exception of Cincinnati, right
Cincinnati
now.
Seems
starting
like they're
to show
falling
their
off. But who knows? Hunter Green comes back, maybe lightning in a bottle for that team, whatever. But pretty much every other team in the Central is going to be competitive down the stretch, I would assume. And then, like I said, even the Mets are starting to win some games. So they, I don't expect them to be in the playoffs, but.
I was actually going to ask you guys, do you believe in the Mets turnaround that's happening right now?
I think the Mets got themselves in too big of a hole, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. I like what they're doing, but they've still got, ways to go to really overcome. I mean, Lindor's not back. He's going to be coming back, and I wonder what that's
back next weekend or this weekend.
I wonder what that's going to do. I mean, I think it can provide a jolt, but also they're seemingly, whatever it is, there seeming to be some sort of dissension in the team with all of them together. And so him coming back into the mix, does that kind of introduce maybe whatever was going on? Not to say he's, the bad apple per se, but it's just it'll be interesting to watch the Mets. I agree with you, Michael. I think it's just a little too hard for them to overcome. However, I mean, they're 5.5 back of a wild card spot. It's not unrealistic to think that way. But I mean, as funny as it is, the best team in baseball over the last 10, if you're just looking record-wise, is going to be the Marlins. They're 8-2 in their last 10, and if they figure some things out, it'll be interesting to watch. I just think I always give Atlanta and Philly the nod because of their pitching staffs. Their pitching staffs are too good, especially at the top end of their pitching staffs. And that alone will keep them probably in that 1-2 spot for a really long time, at least throughout the season.
Well, and that's unfortunately for the Mets, which I don't like the Mets anyway, so I don't really care. But the bad thing for them is there's no one in that division this year where you're going, that's a dumpster fire.
Right.
The previous few years, they had the Nationals have been awful, and the Marlins haven't been very good. They don't have that this year. Like I said, both those teams are at 500 or above 500, and the Nationals can knock around pretty much any pitching staff that they want to right now. So, it's not exactly a series that they have penciled in that they're like, oh, we're excited to go see them because they don't really want to watch Nolan McLean get blown up by James Wood and the boys. So, that's the tough part for me. To see them coming back is just the rest of their division's too competitive to have come back from like a 14 game deficit or something. Like you said, is the wild card possible? Yes, but unfortunately for them, Philadelphia is also playing really good ball right now, and some of these other teams. So I think that's just going to be what ultimately ends up being the nail in the coffin, is the fact that the rest of that division's too good to kind of dig back out of that.
Yeah, the Braves are interesting because they've been the most consistent team in baseball. I found this the other day. They have yet to go on a losing streak. They haven't.
Right.
They have yet to lose 3 games in a row this year.
That's crazy.
That is unreal. That is the definition of consistency. Never losing more than 2 games. It's going to be really hard to unseat that consistency as they grow. Now, we'll talk about it in a minute, but Strider's going on the IL. Acuna's on the IL. Acuna wasn't having the greatest season of all time, but he's definitely a contributor, and will it cause them to need to get some outfield help? I heard a lot of talk today about Byron Buxton potentially being a candidate for Atlanta, but they'd also be a candidate for the Phillies too, because the Phillies need outfield help really bad.
Yep.
I find it hard to believe that the Braves will collapse that hard, and the Phillies or the Mets can get that hot to overtake that, because the hole that they put themselves in at the beginning of the season is obviously great. They're out of it already, but it took a crazy run to do so.
Right.
Now, they've been on a crazy run before. The last time was 2022.
Yeah.
Obviously. So, baseball, anything's possible, but it really is hard for me to think that the Braves can be unseated with that consistent of play that they've shown.
Yeah, I'm not betting those odds.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. All right, so last thing I was going to go over is just injury reports, then you guys can throw some stuff out. So I'm going to present to you guys, throw you guys like 3 or 4 injuries. So Jose Ramirez was just put on the 15-day for the hamate bone. Vinny Pasquantino was put on the 15-day for a hamate bone as well, which was the same. Corbin Carroll, I think, had that.
Yep.
It's how you hold your hand on the bat knob. A couple other ones. Strider from the Braves went for elbow inflammation issue. Jack Flaherty went on the IL, strained his perineal. I'm terrible. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adolis Garcia went on the looks like a 60-day, torn his lat, and then Acuna went on the 15-day for a strained hamstring. Between those, I believe I listed 6. Which one hurts the most for their team?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, I can throw one out right out the gate. And Jack Flaherty, it doesn't kill the Tigers that he's hurt currently, because they suck anyways.
I gotta find out what that is. I've never heard that before.
Man, that's to me, honestly, if you look at it, it's got to be J-Ram.
Yeah.
Just because of the nature of what he means to that team. And the fact that they were probably the favorite to win that division moving forward. I would, and again, our conversation earlier about I'm buying into the White Sox, but with a healthy J-Ram, Cleveland makes that infinitely harder. Because they're going to be battling that out all year. Like, they're not getting away from Cleveland that much with J-Ram. Now, without him, Cleveland could go on a pretty bad spiral very quickly. Because where does the offensive production come from?
Well, yeah, because he's that guy that even a bad stretch for him, he still finds hits. You know, it's like he's the most consistent guy in that lineup. So that's a tough one. I would probably lean and agree towards that. And it's like I thought Adolis Garcia may have a bigger impact on the team than he has there in Philadelphia this year. Unfortunately for him, it's just not worked out. In 60 day, that's a tough one. The Strider piece, that does get interesting because Atlanta has had a significant amount of injuries to their pitching staff already, and they were really looking forward to having him back. And I hate the fact that he can't stay healthy because, 3 years ago or whatever, that dude was unreal while he was healthy. So I guess I'll go with Strider on that piece, though I do probably agree with Brian on that. But I do think the Strider news is pretty significant for that staff, just to see, kind of how they weather that, because I just don't know that Atlanta can keep doing what they're doing with that pitching staff, losing another top end starter. But and that was the piece, though. Like, they knew Strider was coming back, so like, when you got him back, you knew you were going to get 5 or 6 innings out of him. Most games, his strikeouts would be, great, whatever. But you knew you were going to get your consistent starter. So it was like they probably handled things a little differently out the jump. Maybe I didn't watch every Atlanta game, but they probably had some guys throwing 2 or 3 innings, working it that way. Doing that the rest of the season would be pretty tough to do. And I hope it doesn't mean the end of Strider's season, but with elbow inflammation and with a guy who's already had some pretty significant arm injuries,
just had Tommy John.
Yeah, that's not his first. So that could spell into the season for him. And to Brian's point, maybe that does mean that they go get a big name pitcher. So I guess I'll lean Strider, but I would agree the J-Ram piece is a huge blow to Cleveland.
I don't know that they do it, but how fun would it be to see Sale and then Scooball following up 1-2?
Well, and they may have a decision to make there too, though, because let's say Scooball goes on the run that he's been on the last couple of years. Do you have to throw Scooball out there in Game 1? Because we also saw him in the playoffs be absolutely dominant too. So,
I don't know. Sale's a pretty dominant playoff pitcher. Like he's got some. Some cojones.
It really doesn't matter who you throw out there between those two. Right. It's going to be nasty.
That's right. And then for fun, just add Wacha in as your third.
Right.
Hey, dude, I would take that in a heartbeat.
I will say, obviously, as a Cubs fan, hopefully we turn things around, get things going, get to the playoffs, whatnot. But I would really love to watch that Atlanta team kind of get to have a pitching staff, because that would be a lot of fun.
Right.
So I didn't mention him. I feel like I throw out, but O'Neal Cruz was another one that I didn't think to mention. But that I feel like that hurts Pittsburgh quite a bit because they're floundering just a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not having like an unreal season. He's having a good season.
Yeah.
I think I'm with Michael though. I think the Strider piece probably hurts the Braves more because the timetable on that is so open and could be so bad.
Yeah.
Whereas J-Ram, he's going to be back in 3 to 4 weeks because all those players
6 weeks.
Could be, but all of those players that had the hamate bone issues at the start of the season all came back in a month or so. Yeah. Obviously, there's going to be ramp-up time again. He can't use his hands. He can't swing during the healing period for sure, but I feel like that's more known. With Strider's just not. What is that? Is that a third, John? Yeah. TJ, you know what I mean? I feel like that hurts quite a bit, and to Michael's point, will cause them to like, oh shoot, we might need something else to do it. But at the same time, they've been the most consistent team in baseball without him.
Yep.
And it's unreal to think about. Side note, I thought it was funny the surgery that Scooble had and Blake Snell had is now being called Timmy John because it's like a shorter
clean up,
clean up.
Clean up.
I thought it was hilarious. I've seen that rolling around online. That's all I got for the show. What do you guys have anything you want to talk about or bring up?
Hey, just buckle in. Like I think here soon we're gonna have to start talking about like potential trades. I mean, we're at that point now where I think everybody is who they are for the most degree. You may have some teams that kind of start to show some flashes or take some steps forward. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think this could be a very eventful trade deadline coming up. Yep. Not because necessarily these major names. I mean, there are going to be those names like we've already talked about with Scooble and some of those.
Yep.
But it'll be fascinating to see if some of these teams like Detroit decide to say, hey, we're going to essentially blow it up in the sense of going into a rebuild. And are there players inevitably in every season that are really available that just aren't known until the trade deadline? And a big one for me is this the year that Mike Trout legitimately finally gets a trade and goes somewhere?
Fingers crossed. That's the outfielder that Philadelphia gets.
I mean, that's been written forever. I just don't think Trout's going to say yes. I think he's honestly, I think he's too comfortable. I really do. And
who's more
you're
likely?
Making $32 million. You don't have to work in October. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, why?
He wants to work in October. At this point in his career, he wants to work in October.
Who's more likely to sign off on getting traded, Trout or Buxton?
Buxton.
Oh, well, that's a good one. I think Buxton wants out.
Buxton, yeah.
The way he played against us, like there's part of me that goes, you know what? I don't care that he's a little bit older. I think we could use a right-handed power center fielder.
Heck yeah. Who wouldn't take that?
I was shocked last year when it all came out that like Buxton was saying he did not want the he wouldn't let the Twins trade him. I was like, why? Like, that they're going all in to get rid of everything, and maybe he didn't realize that they were gonna ship everybody out.
Right.
Maybe he just thought they were gonna ship out a couple arms or something, and then he's sitting there in the dugout with him and Joe Ryan, and they're the only two boys still hanging out last year, and he's going, I should have signed off on that. But yeah, that is interesting to think about.
And Royce Lewis is another name that could flash up there. I mean, he went down to AAA, and ever since he's been back, the kid has done nothing but hit again. And it'll be interesting to see because they've got him playing both third and first at times. So they're giving him a little bit more of a dual-purpose role.
I will say
Cubs will want him. Put him in third. Again.
Everybody's at third.
Yeah.
I will say this, and who knows, but Caglione could go to first base potentially there in Kansas City. And if he starts, getting significant time, let's say he just starts raking, what happens with Vinny P? Because Vinny P's really struggled this year. He had a point last year where he also struggled. And if you ask the organization currently who's more important to him, Caglione or Vinny P, I don't know that there's any person in that organization that's going, it's Vinny. So that would be an interesting thing to watch with him being out some time here. And like I said, Caglione's starting to put barrel to bat. So it'd be an interesting one to watch too, as a potential like random guy you could see getting tossed around.
So looking at Jeff Passan's prediction sheet and going over some interesting stickouts, but he does say that the Braves will go after Skubal or C.J. Abrams. So of those two pieces, which would be the biggest benefit to them?
Skubal, by far.
Yeah,
I mean,
You think so?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I like C.J. Abrams in Atlanta, but they need pitching. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, to go deeper in the playoffs, they've got to at least get somebody else with Sale.
Well, and that's the piece to me. Obviously, their pitching staff's been off the charts this year. But as we were just talking with Strider, like that's the piece that I'm really concerned about. I'm not concerned about that offense. This is the offense we all expected last year that just for whatever reason decided not to show up to the ballpark but about 5 times last year. So I'm not concerned about Atlanta at all from the hitting standpoint, but I am worried about that pitching staff holding up. The other thing I will say is kind of funny was, and this tells you how great Skubal was passing the best fit for like 15 or 20 teams was Skubal was the best fit for every single one of those teams.
I'm looking at it right now.
And that's because of how great that dude is.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's a world in which they could have both.
It's
I mean,
also
who are we
true.
kidding?
So the other interesting one is the Yankees going after, obviously Skubal, he's on the list, but the Yankees going after Isaac Paredes, which would mean they would have to DFA, what's his name? Yeah, McMahon, and put him there. So they're definitely gonna sacrifice defense, but I mean Isaac Paredes hits the ball like crazy, pulls it like crazy. I imagine in that ballpark it plays better than it would in a bunch of other ones. Obviously not as good as Houston's park, but
well, I will say this too. I always thought that the McMahon piece was really odd. And obviously the Yankees really don't care that much about defense because they still keep rolling Volpe out there. So obviously defense really does not matter to them. So, but I always thought that Ke'Bryan Hayes was the best fit at that time because I thought he had more potential upside as a hitter potentially. Obviously, who knows what but he was an elite defender as well, and definitely better than McMahon already, and he was younger. So I was a little surprised that move didn't happen, especially since Cincinnati got him for a bucket of balls last year or something. But the Esau Paredes there, I think, would do really well, personally.
Could you
he was
see,
in Chicago, so yeah, I could see him out there.
Could you see Gio going there? Gino, I mean, sorry.
No, I was like, Gio. I was like, could I have seen, or could I currently see him?
Could you currently see?
No, probably not
sway it.
because I think Paredes is a better defender than
Sure, for sure.
and
Everybody's a better defender than Gino.
Suarez is not having the kind of year I expected from him in Cincinnati. I thought he was going to go back to Cincinnati and do a whole lot of what he was doing in Arizona last year, and it's not really looked like that. So, but once again, I didn't think the Yankees were making a move on McMahon a couple years ago either. So maybe they take a shot on the potential hot bat getting hot again.
I got a great third baseman for the Yankees. He's in AAA right now. He needs a change of scenery anyway. So
don't put that out there though, because if there is one place that he would randomly just start popping off, it
I
would
don't
be
care.
in Yankee
Yeah,
Stadium.
let him go. Good luck. Have some fun, Mr. Gorman. Enjoy your time in the Big Apple. Just move on at this point. Now,
Nolan Gorman for Cam Schlittler.
yeah, straight, easy, done.
Well,
1 for 1, make that deal.
Submit
You may
that
have to toss
paperwork.
Judge in on that deal, you know, to make it
Right, yeah.
No,
To make it a little more
yeah,
less lopsided.
Seems one-sided there, guys.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's interesting. I like Paredes. I do like in New York. I think there's a lot of plus to that, and I have my hat back here anyway. My AL team. Like honestly, if I'm Houston at this point, I know there's an outside shot. They get on a run. I know they've got a lot of money invested in their roster, those type of things, but they really need to start thinking about moving some people to get. Potentially, some prospects to rebuild, and I'm not advocating for this full sale, just fire sale for them in that regard, because I think they can still compete, and lose a couple of these pieces. Obviously, right now there's just, unless someone comes to you with an absolutely obscene, and I mean ridiculously obscene offer, Yordan Alvarez is not going anywhere. Like you cannot move a player of that talent. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to see him with the birds on the bat with everything that is within me, but we're not paying him that much money, and Houston's not getting rid of him. So it's one of those things. He's going to be maybe moved later in his career as a DH somewhere, but right now that is the face of that organization, and you with him and this emergence of Aaron Getty and Brown coming back, depending on the Brown we see, like those are the three studs that you're working with moving forward.
That's a team that Michael Walker would greatly benefit down there. Brian,
Scooble too, to be honest.
Well, that's
Anybody, they just
Brian,
need bodies.
I don't know how much pool you have, but if you could put a call into Crane and tell him, please, for the love of everybody that loves baseball, please do not send Yordan back to L.A. That will break everyone's heart.
Look, I will have some very harsh words for him if he sends them back to L.A. Like, I love you, brother, but let's not do that. They don't need anybody else.
I think the bad part is, though, they probably could put together the best super package to bring him
100%.
back. So that's
There's
the
no
bad
doubt.
thing.
Right.
If you guys ever have some time, you should definitely go look at their pitching, their AAA pitching depth, because it's literally like 2 rotations of aces.
I was going to say, they can give you a whole set of starters now.
Just waiting for playing time.
Right. It's
a complete
it's
embarrassment of riches.
Don't speak that evil, Michael. Don't you speak that evil.
Yordan for Nolan Gorman, 1 for 1.
I'm down. Let's do it again. Get the paper going.
My signature's on file already. Let's go. Michael would be so sad.
Yes.
All right, boys. I guess that wraps it up. yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, any comments, let us know in that section below. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate you guys for listening and for those tuning in. We will see you guys in the next episode.